Hello everyone, welcome to this video. In this video, I'm going to show you how to run large language models on your local machine using Docker and Ollama. I've created a demo application to show you how I'm using this setup on my machine locally. Let's take a look at the demo application. Here's the demo application. It's a basic chat UI. It's running on localhost 3000. And yeah, let's see it in action. Yeah, you can see the LLM is generating a response from the prompt, the question reacts. So yeah, this is the demo application. So why would you want a setup like this? Why would you want to do this? Why would you want to have this kind of a setup? You would want a setup like this for faster prototyping, data privacy, cost saving, and offline LAN application. So because everything lives on your local machine, is faster. You're not making an API call to understand our service. You're not paying for tokens. Everything lives on your local machine. And if you are within an office and you want to create an application within your office network, this setup could work as well. Let's look at the components that make up our setup. One, we have Docker. Docker helps us run applications in isolated containers, and no need to install libraries and applications locally on our machine. Docker gives us a virtual isolated environment where we can install our applications and run our applications. And because it's easy to spin up containers, we can easily also dispose of all the resources that we used in the course of running our application on Docker. Now you can find out more about Docker on docker.com and also download the Docker client to your machine from docker.com. Now the next component is Ollama. Ollama is a runtime that helps us run large language models on our machine. So Ollama has a repository of models that we can pull in and run locally. Ollama provides APIs for us to connect to models and get responses from the models. They also have an NPM client library that we can use that abstracts away all the API calls that we would have done manually. It's local and it's lightweight. So for our setup, I'm using the Quen model from the Ollama repository. The Quen model is lightweight. You can use any model you want, but you have to consider the capacity of your machine, your local machine. Quen is lightweight and it worked fine in my scenario, in this setup, worked fine for me. Now you can learn more about Ollama on the Ollama website. Now there are two approaches that you can go. You can download Ollama directly to your machine as a standalone application and then start the runtime. And you can also, the approach that I'm using for this setup, I'm using the Ollama Docker image. So Ollama has a Docker image and that's what I'm using. So I'm not downloading from the website directly and starting the runtime. I'm doing everything in a Docker container so that I can easily dispose it when I'm done. So the high-level architecture of the setup of the application, the demo application, we have a Dockerized app that has two containers. In one container, I'm running the Nest.js chat application, and on the on the other container, I'm running the Ollama runtime where I have the model, the Gwen model, and everything is done through the Docker Compose file. So in the Docker Compose file, I specify the configuration, the models, the network connections, and everything. So let's take a look at the code and take a look at the Docker Compose file so you see how everything is set up. So here's the code. Here's the Docker Compose file. It's right here. And you can see in the logs, we have Ollama runtime, and then we have the chat app. So in the Docker Compose file, we have two services. First, we have the chat app, and then we have the Ollama runtime. So those are the two containers that we have running. In the chat app, we are basically building the chat app from the Docker file that is inside the chat folder, which is in here. And we are saying it depends on the Ollama runtime. So in other words, this container would have to start first before we start this container. So this is the basic setup. And you can see in the entry of the Ollama runtime, we run Ollama serve. So when we pull in the image, then we run Ollama serve. Ollama serve starts the runtime, and then we run Ollama run Gwen. Ollama run Gwen starts pulls in the Gwen model into the container and then starts it as well. Now, if you run Ollama pull, it will just pull in the Gwen model, and it wouldn't start it. So with this, I am pulling in the Gwen model and I'm also starting it. So it kind of warms up the model and gets it ready to receive instructions from receives whatever prompts that we pass along to the model. So that's the application. Inside the route, you can see we are using the Ollama library from Ollama, and then we are calling the runtime, passing the runtime to the object and specifying the model and everything. And we are using event stream. So this is why you see the tests coming in one after the other. It's because of the setup. We are using event stream. If I was to go the other route of just make an API call to the model and return everything once and just dump it, that I could also do that, but this is closer to the experience that we have with ChatGPT and Claude, so I'm using event stream to kind of simulate that experience. All right, so this is the application, and yeah, thank you for watching. Do like and subscribe, and see you in the next video.